What's up, everybody? So I know it's been a while since I've done a video. Still kind of getting over from getting sick, but yeah. So I'm gonna start tearing into the 3000 GT, get it ready for driving again. It still runs, but I went and actually got gas last time I drove it, and the gas that was still in the tank was like 2 years old from when I took it apart the last time. And I think when I put fresh gas in it, it got it all mixed up. Whatever crap was in there, probably water from being ethanol mixed gas or whatever. But when I was on my way home from getting gas, it started running like crap. Started missing real bad and just didn't want to run. Couldn't get in at all. I was kind of limp at home. So I think I probably plugged the fuel filter up, so I'm gonna start anyway. So I got fuel filter. I'm gonna actually replace the clutch and flywheel, throwout bearings. Sorry, my throwout bearings are making some noise. So it's been need to be replaced for a while. So I got that clutch kit. New flywheel, what else did I get? Oh, new plugs, new wires. So pretty much just a basic tune-up, and start tearing into it and getting all that back up and going, fixed, and hopefully it runs better when I get it back anyways. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple weekends, and go from there, see how it goes.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Video a whole lot of it. It's just kind of hard to get angles of everything that I was doing. So yeah, I was just going to show you exactly what I did and how I got to this point. Wasn't too bad. It's not too much to take loose. So if you can look, kind of put all the bell housing bolts and transmission bolts up here. So these 4 bolts, these shorter ones that just have all thread, they actually go in the belt from this side through into the bell housing. So there's one right there. There's a couple more on the side. There's also one that actually is another bolt from the back side. This is a starter bolt. This is the other one from that side. Goes in this way. It's just thicker. It has more shoulder, less threads because it goes through like the block and then threads into the transmission. And then this other bolt right here. This one's actually kind of a pain to get to. I had to use a wobble and a couple extensions. Yeah, there you go. You can see the hole there. So it actually feeds through and bolts to the transmission through that ear there. But what I had to do was and just go through, you know, your manifold or through the headers or whatever, and go through that. There's another cutout. Go through that motor mount bracket and get into there and take that bolt out. That was probably the hardest one. Headers are like right up against the starter shield, so I don't really have enough room to maneuver it out. It's unbolted, it's loose, it's just I can't get it out because I can't move it that way because the headers are in the way. So your CV axle here on the passenger side. So there's your transmission. This is one way I do it. Anybody can do it any way they want. Take the hub loose from the strut or your coilover or whatever you want to call it. Take the 2 bolts out. Leave everything else hooked up. I take the bracket off my strut for the brake lines, but I leave my steering rack hooked up, and I also leave the lower ball joint hooked up. So what I usually do is I just leave the CV axle in the transmission, and then when I loosen all this stuff up, I can just turn my wheel to the right as far as I can and let it kind of hang down a little bit, and then I can take that CV axle from here after you loosen the nut for the CV axle out here on the spindle side. You can just pull it out. There's enough slack in it where you can kind of just hinge it out of the way, slide it out, and then once you do that, then it's free on this end. And then I just take a small 12-inch pry bar underneath the car and go in there and just pop that CV axle out of the transmission, and I can just slide the whole CV axle out of the hole right there, and you're free to get everything else out. So right now the transmission's loose, other than this upper mount, this upper transmission mount here, this one that's painted red. So I'm gonna take this 3-bolt out, take the 3-bolt out, and then that'll make it free pretty much. Nothing else holding it on at that point other than it's stuck to the engine. So I'll take that loose, and I can just pry the transmission off the block. I'll have to slide it that way a little bit because I have to get the driver's side CV axle out. I didn't take it loose at the bracket. It's like a 2-piece CV axle. There's the bracket that goes to the block. So I didn't take it loose there. I don't know if I'll need to. If I need to, I can or whatever. It's not that big a deal, but I was just gonna leave it tight for now and then try it with it tight. The one other bracket you have to take out from underneath the car is right over there on the ground. So it's actually it's actually part of the subframe. So you can see the 2 bolts here. I just put back in the hole so I didn't lose them. But it just lines up right here. It's just part of the subframe. It's not really supporting any weight or anything. It's just there to keep your subframe square. That's about all it's doing. So you don't have to worry about something like falling on you if you take that loose, because like I said, it's not really supporting anything. Just make sure when you jack the car up, you don't put your jack stands on that bracket because you got to take it off. So I put mine down there on the control arm brackets. You can see them. So there's 2 brackets. There's 2 bolts in this bracket. There's another bracket on the other side with 2 bolts in it. And those are just transmission stays that go from the transmission to the block. So I took those 4 bolts out. And that's loose. That's everything down here. Like I said, there's these 2 bolts, and then a bolt from up here by the starter. There's a bolt on the back side. That was another 17 millimeter that went in from that way. I think that's it. There's a couple sensors you have to take loose. One of them is right there. It's probably reverse. The other one is back there. That's probably a speed sensor, or vice versa. I don't really know. Doesn't really matter. I unhooked the slave. I have it right here. I just unhooked it because I have a new one, and I didn't want to deal with the brake fluid falling all over the place right now until I get done, anyways. Here's my fuel filter for anybody that needs to know where the fuel filter's at. It's back here, right there, fuel filter. So I'm gonna get that replaced. It's underneath the battery tray. Shifter cables, they go here. There's actually a bracket. So here's the bracket, all right, that bolts to the transmission, and then it goes to these two bolts here. So I just took the bolts out, pulled that off, and then put the bolts back in it. Don't lose, there's like sandwich bushings that sandwich in that bracket, so just be careful with those. There's two pieces for each bolt. Don't lose those, or you'll have a bunch of slop in your bracket when you try to put everything back together. Yeah, so that's it. Take that bolt out and hopefully be able to pop that transmission off there. Easier said than done, I'm sure. But and the other thing I'm not sure about is how high I have the car. As you can see, it's not super high off the ground, but hopefully it's high enough to do what I need to do. I have my clutch here. I didn't order a 6-puck, but I got a 6-puck, so whatever, it'll work. Pressure plate, throwout bearing, line-up tool. There's the flywheel there, and it's just a standard OEM flywheel. Slave cylinder. Got some gaskets, plugs, new wires, new fuel filter. Yep. CV axle is actually it's actually pretty new. I just put those in before I got the car back running because I had gotten rid of the ones I took out when I took the car apart. So yeah, that's how far I made it today. Just a couple hours hanging out in here in the garage. So I decided to make a video for whoever wants to see it. Yeah, I'll probably make another one whenever I actually start pulling the transmission off and then showing the clutch and doing the clutch work and all that. I decided to go ahead and try to pull the transmission off while I was out here. So what did I have left? Oh yeah, once I had this bracket for the transmission mount unhooked, I got a pry bar, pried on it over here a little bit, got underneath there, pried on a little, it was already loose, so I had the jack underneath it, and I kind of just lowered it a little bit, pried it off, and it slowly just worked its way off and fell right on the jack for me. So you can see here, I got it sitting down there. For now, I'm not gonna be able to get it out of here. My car's too low. It's not up high enough to pull the transmission out. But I really don't need to get it out anyways. I can do everything pretty much right down there where it's at. I can replace that throwout bearing and then replace the clutch. It's all right there. It's definitely got a bunch of clutch disc dust all over it. The throwout bearing definitely does not sound good. You can hear it. Sounds like when you used to take your skateboards and put WD-40 in them and they would last for a little while and then it would start really getting noisy. So it's definitely it was definitely a good time to replace it. It's still engaged okay. I messed up that seal down there, but I actually have two brand new ones because I thought that's where my leak was in the past. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace both of them while I have it apart. So I was wrong on this. So I still have this attached to the block. There's a bracket that it attaches to on the driver's side. So that CV axle is like two pieces. It's got the solid shaft that just slides right into the transmission. Doesn't really have a C-clip to hold it in. It just slides in there, but there's a bracket closer on the block that actually holds it steady, holds it in position. So you take those two bolts loose and then the whole shaft will just be loose and you have movement and freedom to do whatever you need to do. Luckily, my starter wasn't really in the way. If I needed to pull the starter out, I'm gonna have to pull my front header off. So I'm gonna try to keep from having to do that. I don't know, I might have to pull it off to get the flywheel and everything off, because I got a brand new flywheel and clutch and everything all new, put back on there. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes, I guess. But yeah, that wasn't too bad, especially by yourself. The fun part's gonna be getting it back on the jack and getting it back onto the block. So I gotta figure out some way to do that. I mean, the transmission's not too heavy, so I think I can kind of pick it up and then have the jack slide underneath it, or put the jack in a position where I can pick it up and set it up on there. I don't know. We'll figure out what's gonna happen with that. But yeah, so I just want to give you guys that quick update. Pretty much the pulling apart's done, so now it's just putting new in and putting it back together. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.